Welcome to the On Stage podcast, where we interview musicians and members of the entertainment community. Welcome, everyone, to another podcast. You would not believe who we have here. We have the host of the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. To those who don't know, the Kayden Gordon Show is a 2-hour syndicated country music radio show for many different online and FM radio stations. It's actually been on the air for a year now. And of course, Kayden is the host, but also his producer is John Graham, and we'll hear more about that. Well, welcome to the On Stage podcast, Mr. Gordon. How are you?
I am doing excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited. I'm so glad you're here. So now I'd be very interested in knowing that you've only had the show for a year, but can you go back to the beginning of who is Kayden Gordon growing up, type of family life he had, and what brought you where you are here?
So I actually want to correct that really quick. I have been doing this since 2019. So it's actually 4 years now, which is absolutely insane to me. So how it kind of got started was I've always had a passion for music in itself, and I really enjoyed country music in particular. And I've always listened to the radio, like FM radio with Country 102.5 is one of the big stations I've always listened to. And it's always kind of made me think, like, how does this actually work? And so I kind of just started doing research, and I found this Facebook group online. And so I found this radio station that was like, looking. And so I said, hey, I'm Kayden Gordon. I've never done this before, but can you show me like the ropes? Can you show me what I need to do? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And so I, kind of started doing that, and it really started to expand during 2020, during the COVID-19, because I had a lot of time to explore and learn more. And then I started doing interviews myself. We've had some big, big guests on the show. Some of them you've actually interviewed as well. So we've had one of my biggest ones that I'm super honorable to have done was with Reagan Rayford, who plays Missy on Young Sheldon. Wow. On CBS. So that was one of the biggest ones that we've done. So I was super honored to interview her. And so from there, it just really started to evolve, and we started, doing a lot of different projects. And that's how, long story short, that's where I am now.
So did you think that, well, since you started in 2019, did you think that once the pandemic started that you would lose all that? Or did you think you'd get more involved and more guests? Because now people were stuck at home. A lot of podcasts started during that time. I started in October 2021, and others started around there. So what was going through your mind when, oh no, the pandemic, oh no, what's going to happen to my radio show?
Well, I wasn't super worried about it. I took it as an opportunity because a lot of people were going to be home. If we didn't have technology the way it is right now, I would be super concerned. Mm-hmm. I would be like, how you just expressed yourself. Like, oh my God, what do I do? But I wasn't honestly very worried because, we had technology. We had a way to still be able to communicate through social media, and we could use Zoom and, all this other amazing technology that we have now. And it just made it super easy. And honestly, it kind of made my life a little bit easier because a lot of big people came on the show during COVID because, for an example, like big musicians and stuff like that, they weren't touring. They weren't, for actresses and actors, they weren't, performing. So it was honestly a win-win for me because a lot of time has opened up for people, and I was able to interview some really amazing people during that time.
So did you literally have experience in interviews, like how to interview people? Did you like go to the Pat Flynn YouTube channel? Did you watch any of the other podcasters like Diary of a CEO or Rich Roll? Or did you just learn on your own and you made mistakes on the way and corrected them?
Well, I kind of did a little bit of both, but as I kind of went into it, I started kind of, figuring out what worked and what didn't. And I try to do my own, like, I don't try to copy people because I like doing what I think is right. And my show is just doing great just the way I am. So, that's just how I personally feel about it. I did have somebody who is taking a break from radio, but a lot of people don't know. I actually had a radio coach working with me. She was super amazing. And so she would give me pointers and tips and stuff. Unfortunately, I think she moved on to another field of interest, but she was really great and she was a radio veteran and been doing this for years on end. And I had some support, and with producer John Graham, who you mentioned earlier, he kind of showed me the ropes too, and he's done some stuff at actual FM stations in the past.
Well, that's interesting, my friend. So, how did you discover the go-to place where you're going to set up your studio? Like, is this your bedroom or is this your den? Where are you currently, in the studio?
Yes, it's both, I would say. That's a good question. So one part of the room is actually like my bedroom, and then the other part is kind of like a studio. So I have like here, like half of it's like a studio. I have like two desks, one's with this mic, and then there's like a workstation I have over here where I'll do like promotion stuff or phone calls. I have a nice business phone and everything over there as well. So I do a lot of that stuff on this side, and then I'll usually come over here when I do interviews and stuff like that.
You have an actual phone, like a business phone, really?
I do. Yep. I sure do.
What is it, like a plumb line?
So it's actually a Wi-Fi phone. And I didn't know this thing like existed, and so I was talking with the company, Ring Central, that I use my phone with, and they're like, and I was telling them, oh, I wanted like another phone, and he's like, oh, well, have you ever thought about using a Wi-Fi phone? And I'm sitting here
Hmm.
going, that's a thing, like that's, and all you do is like you plug it in, like you would like a computer or whatever, and then all you do is like literally it will have like a touch, it has like a touch screen, and you like put in your like Wi-Fi name and password, and then it works just like a phone. There's no Ethernet cable, there's no besides the plug-in cable, but that's all it is, and it is awesome.
That's amazing. So I know your microphone sounds really good, but how did you know the headset and the microphone? How did you set it all up? How did you know this is what you wanted?
Well, I
What's the
had
trial and
some
error?
great. What was that?
What was the trial and error before you said this is what I want?
Well, I mean, I've looked at different things online, and the best place to go that I've seen for the best equipment and podcasting, radio, or if you're just a musician, Sweetwater Sound. It is. They are super helpful. They have great people, and I highly recommend Sweetwater Sound. So that's actually how I talked with a sales engineer up there, and that's kind of how I got hooked up with the equipment that I have now.
Yeah, makes you look like a real professional, my friend. So I have what is here is called a Yaddle mic from Amazon. It's really good. I have two of them, one for my singing, and this is for the podcast. I also have like the arm. Most people have like the arm, and I had that for a while, and then I decided to get this one. I might go back to the arm. And then just recently, I got from Amazon for in-person mic and in-person interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So you put this in the bottom of the iPhone, and then you turn this on, and they put it on like a clip, so you can
Yep.
do in-person interviews. So that works. But the phone, I might look into the phone. Where can I get a Wi-Fi phone from? An Amazon or?
I don't know if Amazon has it. You would have to look into that. The company that I got it from was Ring Central. We could talk after the interview, and I could send you some information on all my whatever you want to know. I have
Excellent.
all different connections, so
So this sounds excellent. So how did you find your producer, John Graham?
you know what's funny. So when I first started, the first station that I was with was actually in Indiana. And so from there, I found out about another guy through another connection. And then this guy happened to be working with John at where John used to work. And so he both found out that, we both have autism. um, and
Uh-huh.
so he was like, "Oh, you should meet Kayden. He's doing something similar." And so honestly, that's how we met. It's just through connections and, like, us talking about things and our love for music and, our passion for helping people with disabilities. And it's how we met. And then we started working together, and it's been amazing. We've done so many cool things together. We've had so many cool opportunities, from going to see Thomas Rhett for free to an award show that we got to go to Atlanta. And I didn't win that award show, but it was just so cool to see. And I was like one of the top 5 finalists for
Oh,
promoter, radio show slash radio station, and representative of the year. So that was awesome. However, what's funny is that I actually found out like 2 weeks later that didn't even know that I was nominated for this. But for the Fair Play Country Music Awards in the Netherlands, so like one of my artists reached out. She's like, "Hey, so I was at this award show, and I'm pretty positive I heard your name, Kayden Gordon, on the stage." And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, let me just double check and make sure, because I'm not 100% sure." She comes back to me. She's like, "Yep, you won radio show station of the year for 2023 for the whole United States of America." I'm like, "Really? Wow." I was like, I didn't even know how to feel about that, because the fact that that I didn't even know I was nominated for that, it was just wow. It really shocked me. So
wow, I'd be stoked. Amazing.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Wow, and also working with John Graham as well. Like he did the Pat Miller program on WOWO, and for 1380 The Fan in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then you hooked up with him. And look at you, my friend. Look where you are. You
Yes, that's
followed your
awesome.
dreams. Yeah, that's amazing, my friend. Wow. So who did like when you first got your first guest? How did you reach out? How did you find them, and why were they the first guests?
Who was my first guest anyway? I don't remember. I've interviewed well over 1,500 people, I think, in the last 5 years.
1,500. Wow.
Yeah, I do. Since day one, I have done like three. Sorry, wait. Yeah, usually 3 interviews for 3 days out of the week. Usually, I dropped it down to 2, but I've been doing like 3 interviews per day, so that usually leaves me with like 9 interviews in a week.
9
So
a week?
yep, that's what I've been doing, and so I had to drop it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But when I first started with COVID, and I just kind of got in the flow about that, obviously at first it wasn't like that, but I have so much interest in people emailing me all day long to be on the show or work with me promotion wise. Which, by
Really?
the way, I have
Wow.
I'm a promoter as well. Um,
Mm.
that it's just gotten so crazy busy. It's just been, I have people emailing me all the time, and Chris, not Robert, sorry, Chris, Robert. I gotta say, I'm sorry for sending you so many people, but
No,
everybody's
keep
hitting
going.
me,
I
and
love it.
so
Keeps me busy, my friend. Keeps me busy. Please.
yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure.
So you do all this reach out yourself, or so you literally have people reaching out to you, and then what do you have to do? Like, do you send them like what do you use? Like, you can book me? Do you use any scheduling app? Do you use Calendly? What do you use?
So it's funny you mentioned that also. Right now I'm using Google Calendar, but I found this amazing company because I've always wanted to hire someone like dedicated to me,
Hmm.
but the financial resource for that, it's not feasible. And so I found this company that it's kind of gig work, I guess, but they charge on like a monthly basis, which works out. Like, I wish I could hire someone over there like full time, but you know with even with like everything I do, I work with like over, not in like a set time, but I've worked with like over 150 artists to get their songs out there. And a lot of people are like, Kayden, why do you not charge why do you charge so little for your promotion to over 7,000 radio stations? That's a lot. You should be charging 10 times more. And I'm sitting
Wow.
here going, because I just love helping artists. That's my goal. I'm not really looking to get rich off of this, although that would be nice. But I've also thought about it too, and I'm like, I want to kind of raise them, but part of me is like, that's not what my gut's telling me, because I want to be able to help as many people as I possibly can. So it's one of those things where I found AnswerNet. And the people over there, oh my God, I'll have to give you their information too. Um, the ladies over there are so sweet. They're so helpful, and they literally, selfless plug here, but they did tell me they will give discounts, and for referral programs for all of this. I have, if anybody needs anything, like, I have referral programs set up with all of them, because they're like, if you know anybody, we will give you and that other person something. I'm like, okay, so I'll throw it out there and see who's interested. But yeah, I highly recommend them as well. They've been super helpful. Right now they're doing appointment reminders, and they have like an answering service, so they help answer the phone if I'm not available. So it's just been, very helpful, and I'm super appreciative of them.
Excellent. I'm already getting merch, by the way. So I'm gonna
Oh,
do like
you
a video where
are.
I'm already doing. I'm gonna do a video where you like people like where you open merch and you talk about like these videos. Everyone does these merch videos, open package videos, stuff. I love it.
Hmm. Yeah, I have merch
Um,
too, by the way. If you go to my website, which is theKaydengordonshow.com, and you can find t-shirts and all that kind of stuff on there as well. So if anybody's interested, you let me know. But I definitely have all that on my
yeah,
website.
you have T-shirts, magazines. You have a whole bunch of stuff.
I
Everyone, I'll
do.
link the Kayden Gordon Show link down below in the description, and you can find everything from there. Now, I was looking at all your artists, and I noticed that you were able to interview Kayden Tokarski, our favorite, and she's amazing. And also a few other Darman um, actors as well, which I'm kind of like, wow. But you say you interview like 2 or 3 a week? How do you do that? Like, how do you deal with your mental health?
I do. It's all about time management. I've had to learn very, 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 very quickly. If I want to do everything that I'm doing, I need to learn that, because sometimes I just need to like shut the computer down and just get out. I will literally leave my phone and my computer's in here, and I'll just go for a walk. I have to, because if I don't, I want to throw something out the window half of the time.
Like your computer?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. But yeah, I've interviewed so many great people, and I'm so impressed with Kayden Tokarski. I cannot tell you how incredible that she is. I think
Mhm.
she's gotten her 22nd award now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
incredible.
And I am super proud of her. I don't know if you heard, but she got added onto Ivy Artist Management's roster. And what's really funny is that I've worked with Ivy Lundeen before, and so I'm not sure if Ivy saw the interview with me and Kayden, but Ivy, if you're listening to this, you made a good choice by adding Kayden Tokarski to your roster. So I'm so happy that they're working together, because Ivy is just an incredible human being. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well. I've done some stuff for her folks as well. So
That's incredible, Kayden. Yeah, I actually a lot of guests have actually offered others as well, and you would not believe, like, if it wasn't for you, like, you had all these people emailing me, and my email just started flooding. I thought that I was looking at my iPhone thinking that I was going to start smoking and go on fire or something. You were like keeping me alive there, man. I might as well hire you to be my artist finder.
I'm
Amazing, yeah.
ready. You pay
That's
me,
cool.
I'll do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'll do
Well,
it anyway.
hey, man, we work together. We'll be able to climb lots of
Yes,
mountains.
exactly.
Can you tell me? Oh, yeah. So, have you ever had anybody from Australia and knowing that there's 3 time zones there? How do you manage that?
I've had plenty of people from Australia. The long and short of it is in Australia, for an example. Um, I have to look at a time converter. I don't know
Hmm.
how else to tell you. I mean, I have to figure it out, and I've messed it up before. Like I've told somebody a time, and the time was completely wrong because I told them the wrong time. I was dealing with this one guest. I remember it, and I'm going to tell you, their time was so unique because you know how it's usually like 3 hours behind or 8 hours behind or whatever. This particular guest was somewhere in Canada, and their time was an hour and a half or something like that behind us. It was like the half, and I'm sitting going, I have in the whole time I've done this, I've never seen a time zone be an hour and a half. I want to say it was like a new Founderland. It was somewhere in Canada. I remember that, but I was blown away by the fact that that was even a thing, and I'm like, I think it was with the interview with Mel and Brad Simmons. I think it was. Um, Sorry if I got that wrong. I don't remember, um, but I think it was with Mel, and I was quite shocked that that was even a thing because I've never heard of it being like an hour and a half behind me. I've never heard of the half thing, and I was like, what? Now that's going to confuse me even more.
Well, I figured it out because I know that my friend who has his own podcast, he's in Brisbane,
Mhm.
and they're like 12 hours ahead. And if you had a podcast for someone from Australia at 8 or 9 p.m. in the evening, that means that you set it up for the morning. So it kind of works out. You got to say, what's your time zone? Are you in Brisbane? Are you in Perth? Are you in Adelaide? Because it's a little difficult, but I'm kind of figured it out. But with people from Ireland, Scotland, and the
Mhm.
UK, it's 5 hours. But when you're dealing someone from Berlin and Germany, it's 6 hours. So kind of, I've been doing this for like 2 years. So I kind of figured, so you're from Germany? Okay, you're six
Mhm.
hours. Are you from Scotland, like recently, or Ireland? You're 5 hours. So sometimes you're like, wait a minute. Are you Scotland? You 6 hours? Oh, wait, you're Germany? You're five. So you kind of mix it up sometimes. But if you
Right.
really
Mhm.
focus, and what I do is I say, okay, so this artist set it up for PST, which is 3 hours behind. So I say the name of the artist in brackets, the PST, and then I set it up, which is my time EST in the calendar. So I know that I have a
Mhm.
podcast at 4 for someone who's at 1 o'clock p.m. PST. So I kind of work it out, and sometimes I mess up, but almost 150 episodes, I think I might have
Right.
messed up maybe 3 or 4 times. But that has nothing to do with this people that just ghost you and don't show up. And I'm trying to wonder, well, how do I deal with that? You send them 3 or 4 emails and telling them, well,
Right.
they have a podcast. You were supposed to be on a podcast at 6 o'clock and it's 6:15. Where are you? And they don't respond. What do you do?
This is something that I've done, especially when it comes to people that are supposed to call in and don't give me a number. I'm like, well, you need to give me some sort of number because I always try to require phone numbers out of people. Obviously, with international, I try to friend them on Facebook or get their WhatsApp number, just some sort of other way to, communicate with them. Because if email's the only way, and if you're not hearing from them via email, you've got to figure out a second way to communicate with them because clearly they're not checking their emails. So then you got to start, really looking into this more and, make a phone call and be like, hey, just reminding you about your appointment. Thank you so much. And, that's something that it's just been really needed, to have a phone number. And if they don't want to give you a phone number, then find them on social media or just something. That way you're not just relying on that one email. And I say that, particularly with like if I'm dealing with like a PR agent or a manager or something like that, I always at least try to get their phone number. I don't, if the person doesn't want to share their number with me, that's fine. But I usually want to try to get somebody's number so I can call it up and be like, hey, and usually I'll wait in 5 minutes before I do anything. And then I will send an email. And then if I don't hear anything in another 5 minutes, then I'll usually be like, okay, if I have a phone number, I'll start making calls.
Why is it possible that they've forgotten, or they just kind of busy, or they can't log in, or what?
Honestly, I've seen it all. I've seen people that, got time zone, not me, not I didn't get time zones confused, but they've got time zones confused. I've been told that one story that makes sense. Well, I don't know if it makes sense, but the one person told me that their husband had to get rushed to the emergency room an hour before the interview. And that one I think was probably the one that I was like, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but that was just that was probably one of the biggest things I've heard. Like her husband got rushed to the emergency room for, I don't even remember what it was. I think he did something. She said that he drank like, I guess he was very suicidal or something, and he
Oh,
drank like I think it was like car gas or something, and so they had to rush him to the emergency room. I think that one, I'm saying take it seriously, but at the same time it's like I think that was probably one of the biggest stories I've had doing this for the last 4 to 5 years, of things that people have told me that they can't come to an interview. And that was the one that I remember very well. And it was because it's super interesting. Not that, I'm hoping that I never actually heard back from the lady. But I'm praying and hoping that her husband is okay and got the help that he needed, and hopefully, he's doing well. But I don't know what happened after that because I never heard back from the lady. So
wow. Yeah. Well, you tend to deal with things that happen. So,
right.
okay, send an email usually a week or a few days and say, "Can you confirm?" or whatever, and then and you just wait for them. Some say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Oh, my apologies," and so you just got to deal with it. Not everyone's going to be perfect, and you just got
No,
to.
not at all. It happens, trust me. But if you try to give us an excuse that is, things happen, but I've had a couple, for instance, I've done rescheduling and that's fine, but I've had people where I've try to reschedule 3 times, and all 3 times they didn't show up. And that's
Oh,
when we start to get very heated because we've scheduled you 3 times and you didn't show up to any of them. That's when it becomes a problem. But if it happens one time, yeah, okay, we'll reschedule. But if it happens 2, 3 times, that is a major, major problem.
does that mean because they don't think they're not taking you seriously? They think they're just some dumb guy who's got his own stupid radio program in his bedroom? You're not as important as someone who's got the big studio, multi-million studio like Joe Rogan, where if you want to get Robert De Niro, you have to pay 1.5 million. So
I mean, I don't want to assume that, but it's like, if you're not interested, just tell me or tell whoever you're interviewing with or whatever. Don't like keep telling us that you're going to do it, and just tell us, you know, we would appreciate it. We won't be offended. Just tell us if you don't want to do the interview. We have multiple, especially me, I have multiple people that try to book, and you're taking that spot from someone. If that is the case, if it's not the case, then that's a different story. But if you're trying to take somebody else's, opportunity to be on just because, then just tell me, tell us.
wow, maybe I should take a page out of your book instead of being like little nerdy little George McFly and say, okay, you don't have to show up. Why don't I just be like Biff and say, "Listen, butthead, I booked you 2 times." You know,
Like I wouldn't like be mean like that. No, I wouldn't like that. That would just be unprofessional. I would never do that. I
yeah, of
wouldn't say it like
course,
that. I would just say, you know, um, just try to be professional about it. Don't be
yeah.
a jerk and don't be rude about it. Be like, oh, I've done this 2 times and I'm sick and tired. Like, don't do that. Don't.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, so I've noticed we've tried to do this 3 times, and unfortunately, due to my busy schedule, just give it a calm approach. That's going to help you in the long run.
I think I'll do that. So it must be really fun for you to be able to, I got a podcast in 15 minutes, sit down, get everything done, put your headset on, look like a real podcaster, which you are, and then you turn on the mic and suddenly test. Wait, what's going on? It's not working. And the guy comes up and says, "Hi, I'm here. Sorry, I'm late. Yeah, hold on. I can't." And then you're just having all these technical issues. How do you manage? How do you deal with it and still be able to, I'm good. you know.
That's a good question. I've had so many things happen to me. I was talking to another artist, and now she's actually doing a show too, Robbie Hart. And Robbie and I were talking the other day, and I was like, you know, have you ever happened to, have your computer just like want to do a reboot on you? Or restart, like, an update. And she's like, oh my God, it just happened to me. And the timing was just like really weird because, she was telling me that happened and, it happened. And, so that I thought was funny. We were talking about it and it happened to her. And so she was like, well, it just happened. And so I'm like, yeah, so that's great because I've had that happen to me before. So it always, when you do a restart on your computer, it's always like it takes forever, blah, 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 blah. In that case, I've always probably, if it takes forever, I was like, I usually handle this 1 or 2 ways. I'll usually just chat with them, be like, I apologize for the delay. Here's what we can do. We can do 1 or 2 things. The first thing is we can go ahead and reschedule because I apologize for the inconvenience. And then the second thing is we could just wait. And, usually they'll choose the first option, then the second, but I try to keep professional. But you can, sometimes I try to hide it, but sometimes you could just tell I am just anxious up to the roof, calling around and seeing like, oh, who can help. If it's not a reboot thing, sometimes it's like my audio software won't load, or I keep hitting the button, okay, time to record, and it just won't record. That's the part where I want to again throw my computer out the window. But it's like, I've had it happen multiple times, like with a bunch of artists. Like it happened once with John Krondis when I did an interview with him and about the Elvis hitmaking team. I've done it like with so many different people before, and it's like super frustrating. But most people, I would say 95% of people is totally understanding because people understand how technology works. The other 5% may be like, what's going on here? But on rare moons, I usually don't get people that are like, some people may not like it, but it happens and there's nothing you can do about it. But you just go with the flow.
Who was the best guest that you ever had?
I think I would have to say I'd say there's 2 people. The first one that I really enjoyed watching like when I was younger, and so I really enjoyed this show. It was like a Nickelodeon show. It was like it was called Danger Force, and it was like, it was like a really good superhero movie, not movie, sorry, show. And there was this one girl that, she was just super nice, and one of just an amazing talented actress, Havon Flores. And the reason why I screamed up and down about this one because she is just super big. And there was actually this is the first time I have ever had an opportunity to interview an actress while in character. So like when she did the interview, it wasn't just her. it was her in her costume.
Really?
Really. And so I was talking with the guy up at Nickelodeon, Viacom, CBS, called me, and he's like, "Hey, so they're just finished shooting. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you 10 minutes with her. Is it okay if she's in her costume for the show?" And I'm like, yeah. I have never
Wow.
seen any other interview with like them being in like their costume from the show. And so I was honestly, I was such an honor to, that was just such an honor to have that interview with her in her, like, with her superhero suit. And I don't know, just something about that just made me super excited because, it's not every day you get, it's not every day you get to talk to a good, talented actress, but it's also not every day you get to see him in action at the studio in Burbank, California, while interviewing him.
So I think I saw that. That's that kid with the mask. I look like
Yep.
the Flash. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah. So why did
Yeah.
they insist that you interview them with their costume?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it was just because they finished like they were just off a set and they didn't have time to change. I think that's what it was. But either way, it was super cool. And that was probably the most viewed episode, a video I've ever done with any interview. I think that was the most viewed video.
That's
And
awesome, Kate.
they posted it too. And for like a week straight, I was getting messages from her fans saying how much the interview meant to them, and I
Wow.
built fan bases just from her fan bases, and I made so many connections that way. Her fans were reaching out to me saying, like, some of them were kind of weird. They were like, they were trying to get me to give her phone number. I'm like, I don't even have that. Like, and first and foremost, I will not be giving you any information because you do not need that information. And second of all, there was like one random guy that was like, "Are you guys dating?" And I'm sitting here going, "What? What? What is wrong with people?" And I'm sitting here going, "I am not. No, that's weird. Stop it." And I blocked the guy almost immediately because my heart was just like, well, nope, that's not happening. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
who would ask
actually
such a question? Super
I know.
weird.
So you just never know. You're gonna assume that, such and such who's famous, you're gonna get millions of views. And that's not usually true. It's
Yeah.
that obscure person who musician, whatever, is you end up giving you, it's like, why? Is it because the algorithm? Is it because they have got more fans, or because maybe most of their fans are in a different country and that's why the views are up because it's from there? So I'm still trying to learn and still understanding that just because, like, you're going to find this kind of funny. I want Sting on my podcast because I'd be interested in knowing, um, do I call you Sting or do I call you by your birthday? So that'd be kind of interesting. My first question would be, you know,
Yeah. And
um,
that's what's funny about that is that video, I was not actually expecting to get the views. Like I did an interview. Do you know the country band Parmalee?
what's it called?
Parmalee.
No, no.
I'm trying to think of what the song that they sing that you would possibly know. They've done a couple popular songs. Let me see. Take My Name, Already Calling You Mine. Any of those sound familiar?
No.
Anyway, they're a big band that I did an interview with. Um, and that one I actually was thinking that would be my big interview, but it really wasn't. But part of it too was, I think what it was they didn't share it on social media, but she did. So I think her sharing it helped. So actually, I think they might have shared it, but they only shared it. She shared it to multiple platforms. I don't think they only shared it on like Facebook or something. So
I noticed that some who promise, "Oh, let me know and I'll share it on social media," but some of them don't even follow through. Or maybe many of them don't even know what it means to share and say, "Why are my views so low?" It's because if you don't share it on your social media, oh, really? I'm supposed to share it, put that on my social media? So, but you learn. But the one person I'd love to have on my podcast is Jeanette McCurdy. I don't know if you heard of her. She
Oh my
was in
god.
iCarly.
I
She,
have. Yes. I actually reached out to her team and they declined my offer, unfortunately, but
oh,
I did hear back from her team twice. Actually, I tried twice, and I
wow.
heard back. So I did hear back. They were super nice about it, but I did hear back from them, and they declined it, unfortunately. But I did reach out,
Oh,
and I did hear back. So I'm pretty accomplished by
okay. I guess I won't do that then because I figured if they're gonna
that.
decline you, they'll decline me. Because even if I reached out and said, "Yeah, sure," she'd love to, I'd be like, I'd be calling you up and say, "Kayden, you want to be my co-host for that episode? Help you out there, man." Um, that's excellent. So, yeah, so I really enjoy doing this, and I love like I think November is one of my highest months because I had like 15 interviews this month.
Well, that's great.
So if I post everything now, I probably could reach 160 episodes, and I'm only at 146 right now. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I don't want it to stop. Like I don't want to have it where I haven't had a podcast in a week. Oh no, I'm dying. So, and also, I've gotten some really good comments. People say you're a great interviewer. I'm really happy. It's better interview than I've had elsewhere, and it just gives you this feeling of wow, that makes me going. That keeps me going. You know what I mean?
I hear the
Um,
same thing all the time. I had a lot of people ask me like, why is the interview so short? And it's like because I have multiple a day and I have to accommodate so many people. When you're first starting out, you have a lot of time to talk with people, but when you have like 3 interviews a day and you're doing homework for school and promotion, it's like I'm very fast, but I always like ask people out of the box questions, and people really love that. Like if someone was to take the time to write a song about you, what do you think that they would write about? And like, if you were to choose one place to do a show at, where would you go and why would you go there? I try to get them thinking. I like to call these the 3 things that I like to focus on: the short, sweet, and to the point.
what would your attitude be if Jimmy Fallon said, "Okay, I want Kayden Gordon on my program"? How would that make you feel?
That would be absolutely insane. I've always kind of wanted to be, particularly either on his show or the Kelly Clarkson show. Kelly Clarkson just seems like a very nice woman, and so wanted to kind of be on her show. So
Wow. So, why do you think many artists are going to podcasts? For instance, Lisa Loeb has her own podcast. Kelly Clarkson has her own podcast.
mhm.
Drew Barrymore. Why do you think that they're leaving the mainstream music? Well, not leaving music, but they're leaving that to go and be like a talk show host or a podcaster, like Lisa Loeb, for instance. You know, Lisa Loeb. She's got her own podcast, and she can get anybody she wants on. She can just call up, "Hey, Sting, can
Right.
I?" Yeah, sure, I'll do it for you because she's a musician. She probably met everyone. What do you think what do you think the reason for that is?
That's a good question. TV production companies are paying more. I don't really know how to answer that question. That's the first thing that came to mind, though. Like, with the Kelly Clarkson show, I'm wondering. I'm not sure how that works, but like maybe just like them getting paid more. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. That's a good question. That's something I would have to really stumble on and think about.
Now, do you have prepaid? Do you have pre-planned questions ahead of time? And when the artist asks for the questions, do you hesitate?
I have no problem giving anybody questions if they ask for them. Some people love to be surprised, and some people want them in hand. And I have no problem giving it to them. And yes, I do have pre-planned questions.
But you have to do them all verbatim, don't you? Like, would they be expecting, wait, that's not number 3. You're asking me number 6. You ever get that?
Yeah, sometimes. In a rare occasion, I do. Not always, but some people want them to be numbered, and you have to follow the numbered. Some people are really like that, which I have no problem with. I actually was talking to one of an artist that I'm interviewing on next Friday, and her mom was telling me she's super talented, Brooklyn Summer. Completely amazing woman. She's so talented. She has a song, Blues on the Blacktop. Perfect song. Anyway, her mom was talking to me and she's like, is there any way that you could, give us the questions beforehand and, number them so she's not as nervous? And I said, sure, I don't care. Whatever I can do to make somebody feel comfortable and make sure that they're ready to actually do an interview, it would be absolutely perfect. So
Are you familiar with podcaster Pat Flynn?
That name sounds very familiar.
Well,
Can't
he's
put a
been a
name to the
podcast
face, but
since 2011 and saw a video today about the tips that podcasters need to know. And some of them are pretty good. Others are like, I can't do that. But if you follow them, he says, well, you'll get your subscribers, you'll get your promotionals, you'll get your merch and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. But there's sometimes when it's like I want to work at this and I want to become better and better. And I have family who are subscribed and everything. And so I try to make it look, professional. And sometimes I get a family member say, I love that episode. You asked the right question. That's great. It makes me feel good. Getting a family member endorsing my podcast. I like that. So is there some people that you kind of like, okay, you don't fit on my podcast? Like who you just interview musicians, right?
oh, I do everybody. I do musicians, actresses. I've had a few authors, such as Giovanna Vidal and Rich Fields, who was an announcer of The Price is Right. I've had them on the show. So I've done other people like that. So I'm very open-minded when it comes to it. I'm mainly country, but I try to support anybody where I can. I had one person, talk to me the other day, and they're like, I liked the song; it was really good, and they were just kept saying like, "But aren't you country?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I like your song. I'd like to help you." They're like, "But you're country," and I'm saying here, going, I'm not going to sit here and argue. I'm just going to not respond to you now because I tried to give you an opportunity to help, and they were just saying, "Well, how does that have anything to do with my song?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I won't. I wanted to support you, but if that's just how I feel about it. And no disrespect to anybody or any of them, but it's just like I don't have time to go back and forth. Like I can support you, or I won't support you. I'm not sure what you want me to do. So."
Well, here's your answer, quick response to someone if they had say, aren't you just country? You say, well, okay, well, is Taylor Swift a country artist or a pop artist? Oh, she's a pop artist. No, she started out as country. There's your answer,
Right.
burn. So there you go.
Right. Exactly. So
Here's another question. Is Britney Spears a pop singer or is she a soprano?
pop.
Nope, she's a soprano. She chose
Right.
pop.
Exactly.
Ah, there
Exactly.
you go. So, that's one way to end an argument. You don't want to be going back and forth like that. Well, this is great. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast and everything. And there's so much more that we could talk about. Let's give us, I don't want to say meaning of life, but give us like an advice for up and coming podcasters or musicians.
Sure. So the advice that I would give is don't ever give up on your dreams, and there's always going to be somebody that tells you no. It's just part of the business. Whatever you're doing in the entertainment industry in itself, you're going to get people that are going to tell you no, but you got to keep going, and you eventually are going to find that person that wants to help you and you're going to find that person that says yes. And, don't ever give up. And the last thing I would say is surround yourself with people that want to support you, like your friends and family, but also surround yourself with people that are industry professionals that know connections, because connections will help you in the long run. And you got to connect with people that will help you and not want to harm you. And you want to make sure that you are with those people, because you don't want to be with people that are gonna give good criticism but not like give any bad negativity. You don't want that in what you're doing. So circle yourself with good people. If you have an opportunity to join any organization, example ISA, if you want to try to be a part of association, International Singer-Songwriters Association is a huge, amazing opportunity with Tammany Dove as the wonderful founder of this. Each state actually has their own chapter. So led by somebody. So I'm in the Boston, Massachusetts area. So I coordinate with Linda Marks, who does an incredible job of leading the Boston area. So she's just amazing. And yeah, so that just proves that you got to kind of surround yourself with the right people and do your research, because there's somebody that will always, help you. Consider joining Facebook groups, or, consider joining like a group such as ISA.
So I've actually feel very proud of and looking forward all week to get you on the podcast and to talk to you. And I've learned so much and hope we can continue working together. And thank you so much for spending this much time with us. Can you stick around for a moment?
I sure can. And if anybody wants to learn more about what I do, or if you need help as an artist for promotion or anything like that, you can always check me out. My website's theKaydengordonshow.com, KaydenGordon, or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, The Kayden Gordon Show, Today's Best Country Mix, or Kayden Gordon. Or you can find my radio station, Kayden Gordon Radio Network, or KJG Media and Promotions, or anything like that. And I was just thinking about your celebrity crush question. I'm kind of hesitant to say it, but I think I have your answer. So no offense to anyone that might be listening, but and I hope that she doesn't take this into like a creepy, like I'm not trying to be creepy at all, but there's this vlogger, Family 5 Vlogs, and now I'd probably have to say that the daughter on there, Briley Ann, is she's somebody that I've kind of always liked. And if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I probably would have said Hey Blonde Floor. My producer and I used to joke about that, like before I actually got her on the show, and partially that's kind of why I was excited. But we won't talk about that again, but I wanted to just mention it because you asked, so I gave you the answer. But no, like, I don't want anybody thinking I'm creepy or anything like that. That's not my intention. So that's just all I gotta say about that. But Chris Robert, thank you so much for having me on the Onstage podcast. I super appreciative, and I hope we can continue working together. And I will make sure to send you all that stuff, all that information. I'll make you more connections, and I'll connect you with the two people up at Ring Central, my account manager up there, and the people up at Answernet. So, and if you need any recommendations for equipment, I highly recommend Sweetwater. I will send you all that information and all my contacts up there, the two girls and the two guys and the girls I work with, and I'll get you connected with anybody that you want me to. Anybody from Sweetwater, Answernet, Ring Central, anybody I mentioned, or any company or any recommendations, come talk to me. And for the listeners too, if you need any recommendations for a business phone or some help or anything like that, what we mentioned, come talk to me.